The Third Macedonian War erupted in 171 BC, sparked by a series of provocative acts by King Perseus of Macedon that compelled Rome to declare war. Initially, the Romans achieved several small victories, largely owing to Perseus's reluctance to consolidate his forces effectively. However, by the end of the year, Perseus managed to reverse many of these setbacks. His triumph at the Battle of Callinicus and his subsequent recapture of key territories, including the religiously significant city of Dion, marked the turning point. Perseus then fortified his position along the Elpius River, rendering it seemingly unassailable. In 170 BC, command of the Roman forces shifted to Lucius Aemilius Paulus, a seasoned general and one of that year's consuls. Recognizing the strategic advantage of Perseus's position, Paulus devised a bold plan. He dispatched a small contingent of 8,200 infantry and 120 cavalry under Publius Cornelius Scipio Nasica Corculum toward the coast, simulating a riverborne flanking maneuver. In reality, Scipio's troops embarked on a daring overland march, traversing mountainous terrain to approach the Macedonian army from the rear. However, their advance was compromised by a Roman deserter who informed Perseus. In response, Perseus dispatched a force of 12,000 men under Milo to intercept the Romans. The resulting skirmish ended in disarray for Milo's forces, forcing them to retreat. Following this, Perseus repositioned his army to the plains near the village of Catarini, south of Pydna. This terrain was ideal for the phalanx, the Macedonian army's primary formation. Meanwhile, Scipio rejoined Paulus's main force. The Romans encamped to the west, in the foothills of Mount Olocrus, while Perseus prepared for an apparent southern attack by Scipio. The night before the decisive battle, a lunar eclipse occurred, unsettling the Macedonian troops, who interpreted it as a bad omen. According to Plutarch, the eclipse was seen as a sign foretelling the downfall of their king. In contrast, Paulus, aware of the astronomical explanation, performed sacrifices to ensure favorable omens. The Battle of Pydna commenced on June 22, 168 BC, in the late afternoon. Accounts differ on the exact cause of the engagement. Some suggest that Paulus deliberately delayed his attack until the sun was no longer in his troops' eyes. Others attribute the battle's onset to Roman foragers clashing with Thracians in Perseus's army. The Roman army numbered between 28,600 and 37,000 men, including 22,000 to 34,000 infantry. These forces comprised Roman legions, Italian allies, and contingents from Greece, Numidia, Liguria, and possibly Hispania. The Macedonian army initially fielded 43,000 soldiers at the start of the war, but by the time of the battle, this number had dwindled to approximately 30,000. Perseus had dispatched 8,000 men to guard against Roman naval threats, leaving 5,000 phalangites, 2,000 peltasts, and 1,000 cavalry unavailable for the battle. The Roman formation was conventional, with 2 legions in the center, flanked by allied infantry. Cavalry units were positioned on the wings, with 22 elephants bolstering the Roman right. The Macedonians deployed their phalanx in the center, supported by 3,000 elite guard troops on its left. Lighter forces, peltasts, mercenaries, and Thracian infantry protected the flanks, while cavalry, including the elite Sacred Squadron, was stationed on the Macedonian right. Despite their significant role, the cavalry reportedly refrained from engaging, possibly due to internal dissent among the nobles or poor coordination. The battle began with the Macedonian phalanx advancing toward the Roman camp. Paulus later admitted that the sight of the formidable phalanx filled him with awe and concern. Roman allied troops initially attempted to counter the phalanx's bristling pikes by hacking at their points, but met with little success. Desperate measures, such as throwing standards into enemy lines to rally troops, proved futile. As the Macedonians advanced uphill, their initial advantage waned due to the uneven terrain of Mount Olocrus. The Macedonian phalanx began to fragment as sections of the army moved to different parts of the mountain, creating gaps and disarray in their line. Paulus astutely recognized this and divided his cohorts to exploit the openings in the Macedonian formation. The Romans engaged in multiple separate battles within the Macedonian ranks, attacking from different angles and taking advantage of the uneven ground. This strategy shattered the cohesion of the Macedonian phalanx. The rough terrain disrupted the Macedonian line, providing opportunities for Roman units to insert themselves into the gaps and attack effectively. As the Macedonian infantry was left vulnerable, the Romans launched a relentless assault from all sides, front, flank, and rear. Amid the chaos, Perseus fled the battlefield with his cavalry, a move widely criticized as cowardly. Plutarch suggests Perseus may have been injured and retreated to Pydna early in the battle. The elite 3,000-strong guard fought valiantly to the last man, but the Macedonian army suffered devastating losses. Livy reports that up to 20,000 Macedonians were killed, with an additional 11,000 captured. The battle itself lasted about an hour, but the Roman pursuit continued until nightfall. Some sources claim that a tactical error or confusion left 10,000 Macedonian troops stranded and unable to join the fight. The Battle of Pydna is often cited as a testament to the flexibility of the Roman legion compared to the rigidity of the Macedonian phalanx. However, modern analyses attribute the Macedonian defeat to Perseus's poor leadership and the failure of his cavalry to engage effectively. The Agema peltasts, who maintained cohesion longer than the regular phalanx, highlight the importance of training and discipline in determining battlefield outcomes. The battle's aftermath had far-reaching consequences. Macedonian power was irreparably broken, though formal annexation by Rome occurred later. Perseus surrendered to Paulus, who paraded him in a Roman triumph before imprisoning him at Alba Fusens. The Macedonian Kingdom was dissolved into 4 republics, each prohibited from engaging in mutual trade or political interaction. Eventually, these republics were absorbed into the Roman province of Macedonia. The victory at Pydna was celebrated throughout the Roman world. In Athens, a decree honored Caliphanes, an Athenian citizen who had witnessed the battle and brought news of the triumph. This decisive Roman victory at Pydna not only ended the Third Macedonian War, but also marked the twilight of Macedonian independence, solidifying Rome's dominance.